Am I the a-hole for inviting my neighbor's husband over for a coffee and play date? Hey friends, come on in. My name is Mike, and today we have some crazy long Reddit stories with updates and play dates?
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Am I the a-hole for inviting my neighbor's husband over for coffee and a play date? His wife accused me of pursuing him, and my husband thinks she was right to confront me.
That's a spicy meatball!
About a year ago, a couple, Emily, female 30s, and Jake, male 30s, moved into the house next to ours, 30s. Emily and I were both pregnant at the time, with due dates a few weeks apart. We would run into each other in the neighborhood or out in the street and eventually became friendly. We texted occasionally to check in on each other during our pregnancies, and our husbands became friends as well. For some context, Emily had a very difficult pregnancy and was on bed rest for the last month of her pregnancy before she gave birth. They moved away from their support system for Jake's job and didn't have family nearby, so I would sometimes drop off meals when I was cooking for my own family. Aww.
That's sweet. I love kindness in neighbors. We have a great neighbor next door. Shout out, Michael.
Emily had her baby about a month before I had mine. After the babies were born, we didn't see much of each other. I invited her a few times to go for walks with the babies, but she always declined, saying the baby was fussy or napping. I figured she was just overwhelmed as a first-time mom. Our husbands continued to see each other occasionally during this time.
So many activities!
Last week I was out walking my baby when I ran into Jake, who was also walking his baby. We ended up walking together and chatting for about 30 minutes. Our chat did not include anything personal. We talked about the babies, our jobs, our summer plans, yada, yada, yada. Blah, 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 blah. When we got back to our street, the babies had woken up. So as we passed by my house, I asked if he wanted to come in for a coffee and let the babies play together. He thanked me for the invite and declined, saying he needed to get home because he had errands to run. I mean, I don't know. And when you describe it like that, it seems okay.
3 days later.
Emily invited me over for a play date. I accepted and even offered to bring some food for the babies because she had mentioned being nervous about introducing non-pureed foods. While the babies were playing, she suddenly said, "Jake told me you went for a walk together last week." And I said, "Yes, we ran into each other while out with the babies." She then asked, "Why did you invite him back to your house?" It sounds so much worse when you say it like that. And that's so awkward too. I was caught off guard and tried to explain that the babies had woken up and I had meant it as a play date. She responded that she didn't know what I was playing at, but her husband was off limits and uninterested in case I had any ideas. Oh my God. Oh, that's so awkward. I don't know. I need more context, you know? Like if it was the way she said it was, like, hey, you like one of the babies to come hang out? Like if you're neighbors and you give each other food and stuff like that, it's pretty harmless. But I don't know. I mean, maybe from a woman's perspective, you don't want your husband or boyfriend alone with another woman in their house. I'm not sure. I'm also like a dumb man. I'm like,
you have coffee and a baby? I have a baby. Should we like have coffee and let our babies chill?
I was in shock, so I froze up for a couple of minutes. When I was able to respond, I told her it was bizarre that she would interpret a walk with her husband and an invitation for coffee and a baby play date as anything other than innocent. I also told her that my husband was working from home that day and was in the house. I also said that I hope she heals from whatever happened in her life that made her view something so innocent as a threat. Yeah, I mean, if her husband was there and he was part of the conversation or part of the play date, then I guess that's way less harmless. She laughed in my face and said, "Rich coming from you. Just because your husband treats you like dirt doesn't make it okay for you to go after my husband?"
Excuse me, what?
Oh my God. My jaw dropped and I just picked up my baby and left. I flipping hate myself for not giving her a piece of my mind and leaving without saying anything, but I felt like I had just been slapped. How do you even respond to that? Something in her past maybe made her view that as something more threatening than how you're describing it. My husband and I have been having some serious issues. When I got home, I told him what happened and asked if he has said anything about our problems to Jake. He swore that he hasn't, but I'm not sure I believe him because how else would Emily know anything? My husband then said Emily was right, that it was inappropriate to invite Jake in, and my husband is now mad at me over the whole thing. Am I the a-hole? Talk about getting screwed from both ends of the stick. Is that a saying?
No.
I don't know. I'm like one of those people who's just like obliviously kind, just naive. Like, hey, you want to come over? I don't realize the social repercussions or how things might look sometimes. Like I could totally see myself as OP here. Like, hey.
Oh, hi there.
In this case, knowing a bit about OP's relationship, maybe she saw it as more threatening. I'm not sure. So we have a couple of edits. Let's just go right into them. I discovered my husband was cheating on me 2 months ago. Oh. So that's what happened. Clearly, your neighbor knew that your husband cheated on you and was like thinking that you were going for revenge. That's sad that she would go there. Just because someone cheats doesn't mean you want to cheat back.
You're exactly right, and you get a point.
But I can see why she got upset. I don't agree with her, but I can see her logic. Edit 2. I'm going through some of the comments, and I think I may not have explained this part well. Emily didn't avoid hanging out with me or us. The four of us, with our kids and their baby, have spent time together on multiple occasions. Going to the park, we've had them over, they have had us over, but always the four of us and the kids. My older child really likes Emily and Jake. They have always been nice to us. Jake and my husband hang out together alone sometimes, but Emily has always had a reason not to hang out alone with me. The other day when she invited me over was the first time we'd had a solo playdate for the babies. So let's go to the comments for a sec. The fact that the husbands hang out and she actively avoids you before this event happens means that they already have a negative opinion of you based on how your husband speaks of you. You have a husband problem for sure. That's a great point. You know, they could be hanging out and he could be talking shit about you all the time. Ironically, he's the one who cheated, but he could paint you in a negative light and relay that message to his friend who relays the message to his wife, which is why they think of you a certain way. Maybe you need to like talk to your neighbors and be like, I don't know what he told you, but this is the truth. This is interesting. Plot twist. They are the ones cheating with each other, not you. OP responds, I know he cheated and I am dealing with his trickle truths and lack of disclosure at the moment. I don't even know who he was cheating with. My guess was a coworker, but our next door neighbor, that would be insane. Maybe he's cheating on you with Jake. That would be a plot twist. I guess like if you want a bit more information about like the cheating, there's another comment that says, how did you find out he was cheating but not know who with? OP responds, I saw the message notification on his phone while he was in the shower. I confronted him and he denied it, and only after a few days did he admit he cheated. I don't know the details because he is adamant that it's not important to know who, how long it's been, etc. There's something in this comment that I like. Not the asshole. In fact, that was very thoughtful of you. I agree. Seems like your husband lied and did indeed say something to Jake, who mentioned it to his wife with zero thought that it would be relevant leading to all of this. Plus, if your husband was working from home that day, how can he still side with her? That makes zero sense. OP responds, he agreed with her that it was inappropriate of me to invite Jake over, regardless if he was home or not. It's a bad look in his opinion. Oh boy. So we have an update.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
So the original post was June 4th. And now this post is June 28th, so 2 months later. Hey, psst, just one little thing. Can you just hype me? Just really quickly. Just hype me really quickly. Okay, I love you so much. Okay, bye. I came back to post an update. I think it's a way for me to process what has happened since. Please spill the beans. Shortly after my last post, my husband admitted that he had confided in Jake about his infidelity. He said he felt guilty and remorseful and wanted to talk it out with a friend. He claimed he didn't realize Jake would tell Emily and that she would throw our marriage struggles in my face the way she did. He apologized for discussing our issues without my consent and promised to distance himself from them. He also apologized again for the affair, which he swore was over. He told me the affair partner was a coworker who had since left the company.
Very convenient.
He promised he wanted to change and rebuild our relationship, so I forgave him and gave him another chance. Again. Once a cheater, always a cheater. I don't know. Some people are nicer than me, but I have issues, as we all know.
We all know that now. Easy.
Things had been going well. My husband was attentive and loving. He was helping more at home, spending more time with the kids, and showing me affection. For a moment, it really felt like my husband had returned to me. In hindsight, though, I think it was love bombing. This is about to get spicy. I need a sip of water. Anybody else spill every time they drink water?
No.
Last week, I had a medical appointment that I needed to attend alone, so my husband stayed home with our baby. I was anxious because he had never been alone with the baby for that long, and I wasn't sure he would be able to put him down for his nap. While I was sitting in the waiting room, I logged into our baby camera just to check that the baby had gone down okay. Oh no, I don't want to know, I don't want to see it.
I got this.
That's when everything began to unravel. The baby was asleep in his crib, and my husband was walking out of the room. Then I heard a woman's voice asking if the baby was finally asleep. No! Oh, so surprising. Oh, I hate that. When you see it, I feel like it's 1,000 times worse. I'm so sorry. You've given this guy, it seems like, at least 2 chances. You said again after you mentioned that you gave him a second chance. My husband replied, confirming that he was. I couldn't see the woman because she was outside the camera's view, but her voice was familiar. I thought it sounded like Emily. Maybe it's because she is the cheater. The cheatee? After my appointment, I checked our Ring doorbell recordings from that day. There she was. Emily had knocked on our door and my husband let her in minutes after I left for my appointment. She left an hour and a half later. I was in complete shock. Wow! In the words of Alanis Morissette, isn't it ironic? Yeah, I really do think. It's worse when you have receipts, but you have the receipts. You think he'd be a bit more secretive about it, right? You know, her showing up to the door with a Ring cam that you have access to? This guy is stupid. I need more. When I got home, I didn't confront my husband. I was tired of his lies and wanted the truth before saying anything. I went through our doorbell camera history and found many more instances of Emily coming over while I was gone. In one video, I saw them kissing on our front porch. I saved everything. No! No! Idiot! Caught red-handed. Yeah, that's why she was so defensive, because she was hooking up with your husband and she thought that you might know. The next day, I messaged Jake and told him I needed to speak with him because I had some bad news about my husband and his wife that I believed he deserved to know. He didn't reply. Shortly afterward, my husband called me, furious. Jake had forwarded my messages to him and warned him that I was trying to frame him and Emily. He went quiet and then ended the call.
You see how this looks, right?
Later that evening, he came home late and intoxicated. He was angry and blamed me for destroying our lives and for trying to expose the affair. I yelled at him and then said I wanted a divorce. Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about! That's what you gotta do! Blames you for destroying... Yeah. That's called gaslighting, I think. Did I get it right? Did I get the term gaslighting right? I don't want to offend anyone. I cheated because, it's your fault. You didn't love me the way I want to be loved. You ruined it, man. You destroyed their lives. My 4-year-old woke up because of the screaming and commotion, so I grabbed her and ran to the bedroom and locked the door. My daughter was terrified and clinging to me while my husband banged and kicked the door, threatening to break it down. Luckily, I had my phone with me and called 911. The rest of the night was a blur. My husband was arrested close to midnight on a Tuesday. The entire street woke up to the sirens and confrontation with the police. Our neighborhood was shocked. We had always been the friendly, polite neighbors, and no one expected this could happen behind closed doors. I was done protecting my husband's image. He destroyed our life, not me. When neighbors asked what happened, I told them the truth. He got upset after I discovered he was cheating on me with Emily. A few days later, Jake reached out to me. He was apologetic and felt responsible for not believing me when I tried to warn him. Jake told me my husband had been confiding in him about our marriage problems. According to Jake, my husband told me that I was the one who cheated in the past, that I was unstable because of my PPD/PPA. None of that is true. Jake also told me he had confided in my husband about problems in his own marriage. Looking back, it seems my husband used those vulnerabilities and the information Jake shared with him to get closer to Emily. Serial cheater. After everything happened, I finally called my family and told them the truth. Oh, that must have been such a hard call. I'm so sorry. They knew I had been struggling and distant, but they thought it was because of the postpartum. They had no idea how much I had actually been carrying alone. I told them about the affair, the threats, the manipulation, and how scared and exhausted I'd become. They are in my corner and they are trying to help me figure out my next steps. I feel like a weight has been lifted off me for the first time in a long time. I don't feel alone. Oh. Really happy for you. I'm obviously not happy about what happened, but I'm happy that you've gotten out of that toxic relationship. Probably feeling like you're going crazy, knowing that he's cheating, being gaslit into thinking that you're hitting on your neighbor's husband. They were messing with you, but you got out of that situation, and I'm glad you're safe and okay for now, and I hope he pays the price. I hope Emily loses her marriage. OP responds, I don't know what Jake's plans are, but after he sent me that text, I sent him the images I had saved of Emily coming to my house at odd times and the video of them kissing. Good. He has all the information now to make an informed decision. At the very least, I am sure Emily is really having a hard time because she hasn't shown her face around the neighborhood since last Wednesday. I never understand why people would bail out people like him, so if he was arrested, he was out on bail. OP responds, his very wealthy parents bailed him out because he is their golden boy who can do no wrong. I'm really sorry that you had to go through this. I hope that moving forward, you find some peace within yourself and you raise your child in a less toxic, more loving environment. And I hope you find love again someday. And you're definitely not the a-hole. And I wish you the best going forward. Should we go again? One more?
Yes, sir.
Am I the a-hole for cutting off my daughter after she slept with her sister's husband? Oh, no. Buckle up. This is a long one, and we got lots of updates.
Gimme, I need.
I, 59 female, have 2 daughters, Emma, 35 female, and Chloe, 33 female. Emma has been married to her husband, 36 male, for 11 years, and they have 2 children together. Chloe has been married to her husband, 34 male, for 8 years, and they have 1 5-year-old son. About 6 weeks ago, Emma called me just after midnight, completely hysterical. She told me she'd suspected for months that her husband was hiding something. He'd become distant, constantly guarded his phone, and was always finding excuses to stay late at work. That night, after he fell asleep beside her, she looked through his phone for the first time. She found years of explicit messages between him and Chloe. Years.
Oh, hell no.
Oh my gosh. It's bad enough when it's like someone not your family, but when it's your f***ing sister. The affair had been going on for almost 4 years. Emma was devastated. She kept asking me how her own sister could do this to her. A few days later, we were at my brother's birthday party when Emma confronted Chloe outside. Oh gosh. At a family gathering? Oh no. Chloe denied everything at first and insisted Emma had misunderstood. When Emma said she'd read the messages herself, Chloe completely fell apart. Busted.
Busted!
She started crying, admitted the affair, and kept repeating, "I don't know why I did it. I'm so sorry. It was the biggest mistake of my life." And yet you kept doing it for years and years and years and years.
Disgusting.
Emma asked how 4 years could possibly be a mistake. Chloe had no answer. The argument escalated into a screaming match. Chloe tried to slap Emma, but several relatives stepped in before she could. Oh, it's messy. Chloe's husband quietly took their son home after realizing what had happened. Within days, he told Chloe he wanted a divorce. Emma also filed for divorce after her husband admitted everything. Oh, it's so sad. After it all came out, Chloe called me 82 times in one day. I once called Charlotte 69 times.
Nice.
No, I never did. That'd be ridiculous. That's a lot. That's a lot of phone calls. I do send her a lot of memes, though. I answered once because I hoped she was calling to explain herself. Instead, she cried the entire time. Good. Begging me not to abandon her. She said she'd already lost her husband, was probably going to lose shared custody of her son, and couldn't bear losing her mother, too. She said she knew she didn't deserve forgiveness, but begged me not to hate her forever. It's got to be so hard for you as a mother to have to go through this. Like, I feel so bad for you. Because she is right. She's your daughter. But she has to learn a lesson. Maybe the best thing for her would be to go low contact for a little bit, you know? I told her I couldn't look at her the same way anymore. I said this wasn't one bad decision. It was years of lying to her sister, her husband, and the rest of us. I told her I loved her because she's my daughter, but I didn't want contact with her for the foreseeable future. Probably a smart thing to do. Just like give this time to breathe. She needs to learn a lesson. Since then, I've ignored every attempt she's made to reach out. This is where my family thinks I'm wrong. My sisters say Chloe has already lost everything. Her marriage, her relationship with her sister, many of her friends, and likely the family she dreamed of giving her son. They say she's genuinely remorseful, has started individual therapy, and isn't trying to justify what she did. They argue that if a mother won't stand by her child after they've hit rock bottom, who will? They also remind me that cutting Chloe off means my grandson is growing up without his grandmother, even though he's done nothing wrong. Look, I think you need to go low contact for a bit, but yeah, I mean, I'm not a parent, so it's so hard for me to comment on this. You have to just trust your gut on this. Like, Chloe did all this to herself. And it's got to be so hard to watch as a mother because you're on the one hand so supportive of your other daughter and you're so mad at Chloe, but also you raised this girl and it's got to be so hard to see her like this. But I do think that low contact for a bit is very, very crucial. And, you know, of course she's remorseful now because she got caught, but she's been doing it for 4 years. I understand all that, but every time I think about welcoming Chloe back into my life, I picture Emma reading those messages alone in the middle of the night, realizing that 2 of the people she trusted most had been lying to her for years. Think about the emotional damage. Think about the trust issues. I don't know if I can move past that. My family says I'm punishing Chloe forever for something she already deeply regrets. I feel like I'm simply refusing to pretend it never happened. Am I the a-hole? So it's been 6 weeks. I don't know, man. Is 6 weeks long enough for her to really learn her lesson? I'm sure she's probably hit rock bottom. I honestly don't know how I would handle the situation. Let's go to some comments. Not the a-hole. She's not genuinely remorseful. She's sad she got caught and is facing consequences. Can't you have a relationship with your grandson via his father? Tell your sisters to mind their own business. This is between you and your daughters, nothing to do with him. OP responds, I can kind of have a relationship with him, but the problem is that he wants his child to grow up closer to his own family, who lives in another city rather than his ex-wife's family. It's a good point. I mean, how can she be genuinely remorseful when it's only been 6 weeks? I think she needs more time. Not the a-hole. You have a daughter that has been completely destroyed by her own sister and her own husband. She's the one that needs your support, not the one that chose to cheat on her husband with her own sister's husband. She made the conscious decision for 4 years. That's not forgivable in my eyes. She made the decision. She can face her own consequences. I'm sure her soon-to-be ex-husband will still allow you to be part of her grandson's life. Reach out to him and let him know that you're not speaking to her, and just be there for Emma and her kids. OP responds, thank you so much. I've reached out to him, but haven't heard anything back. So it seems like a lot of people think that she's not the a-hole. I don't think she is at this point. I think she needs to take time. It doesn't mean she's never going to talk to her again, but she's not ready. She's a human being too. So we have our first update 3 days later. I know it's very early for me to post an update, and I wasn't planning on it. But after reading the comments on my first post, I decided I needed one final conversation with Chloe before I completely closed the door. So she decided. I went to her house yesterday and I expected her to be emotional after calling me 82 times in one day, but she was surprisingly calm. I asked her that one question I still couldn't understand. Why?
Why?
She admitted she'd been attracted to Emma's husband for years. She said what started as admiration eventually became feelings, and over time, they crossed a line. Instead of ending it, they kept convincing themselves it would be the last time. She insisted she regretted everything. I asked if she'd spoken to Emma. She told me the only contact she's had was one text before Emma blocked her on everything. Emma told her she'd destroyed their family, taken away their children's stable home, and that she hoped the affair had been worth losing a sister forever because as far as she was concerned, Chloe no longer had one. Emma blocked her immediately afterward. Ooh. You did it to yourself. Emma's ex-husband is also a big part of this too, but Chloe, I mean, that's your sister. That's not good. No bueno. Chloe also admitted she later waited outside the school gates, hoping to speak to Emma when she came out to collect the kids. That's kind of creepy. Emma refused to speak to her, warned her to stay away from her and her children, and told her that if she ever approached them again, she'd regret it. Chloe left crying. I told Chloe her waiting outside the school was completely inappropriate, regardless of her intentions. She insisted she only wanted to apologize and prove she cared about Emma. I then asked if she truly felt remorse. That's when I completely lost my patience. Instead of taking full responsibility, Chloe started telling me Emma's marriage had already been falling apart, that Emma and her husband had been drifting apart for years, and that he'd often confided in her. She admitted the affair was wrong, but repeatedly tried to place part of the blame on Emma, saying if their marriage had been happier, none of this would have happened. I was furious. Of course you should be furious. Why is that your answer? She's clearly not ready. She's not ready. She's sure she's taken some accountability and she's showing a bit of remorse, but the fact that she's blaming it on her, I don't like it. She hasn't learned her lesson yet. She's trying to create this narrative in her head that, I mean, it wasn't me. Like, they weren't happy. What could I have done? I mean, this puts the nail in the coffin for me. If I were you, OP, I would have lost my temper as well. So let's hear what you said, because I want to hear the tea. I honestly couldn't believe I'd raised someone capable of thinking like that. I told her there is no more marriage bad enough to justify secretly sleeping with your own sister's husband for 4 years. I told her I wasn't just disappointed, I was ashamed that she was my daughter. Ooh, give her that shit. The more she tried to justify herself, the angrier I became. The conversation eventually turned to her own divorce. She talked about how difficult everything had been for her and how her husband still plans to move to Washington with their son to be closer to his family. She said she may have to move there too if she wants to stay close to him. As she spoke, I realized almost everything was about what she had lost. Her marriage, her home, her reputation, and possibly seeing her son every day. Very little of it was about Emma or the damage she caused. At the end of the conversation, Chloe asked if we were cool now. I told her no, we were not cool and we might never be. I said that if I ever found out in my heart to reconcile with her, it would be on my terms and in my own time, not because she thought one conversation could erase 4 years of lies and betrayal. I walked out feeling angrier than when I'd arrived. Honestly, I don't know what to do anymore. I love both of my daughters, but after that conversation, I'm not convinced Chloe truly understands the pain she caused. Yeah, I'm not a parent. I can't imagine. I can't comprehend this. But I think maybe the best thing you can do is to actually create space for yourself and for her to really learn a valuable lesson. As a parent, right? You don't want to coddle. Maybe you need to give her some space to let her really soak it in. Because it sounds like she's trying to say the right things, but again, making it about herself and deflecting, saying that that Emma caused all this because her marriage wasn't healthy. Like, I bet you that is hard. She caused all that to happen by making the decision to sleep with her sister's husband for 4 years. Why does the other woman always believe my marriage is falling apart and I'm not actually close to my wife BS every single time? We all know this man would have happily remained in his marriage with his side chick sister-in-law forever if Emma didn't find out. Hell, he's probably begging Emma in text to give him another chance and that Chloe means nothing to him. Tale as old as time, but the women keep falling for it. Baffling. OP responds, I'm pretty sure there might be a final part 3. Ooh, foreshadowing more? I'm not sure how many parts I can keep making before Reddit says otherwise. Emma and her husband did have some problems, but they were mostly, if not always, minor and nothing serious. I am still trying to process how it was going on for 4 years without anyone knowing. Well, I just wanted to say one thing. We have one final update.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!
Oh, yeah, give me that shit. Final update, here we go. Buckle up. Make sure your headphones are in for this one.
Here we go.
Final update, July 23rd, 2026, 17 days later. I said after my last update that I'd come back one last time once things had settled down a bit, so this will be my final post. First, thank you to everyone who commented on my last 2 posts. I read and replied to more comments than I expected. Some of them were difficult to read, but they gave me a lot to think about. To answer the question I saw most, Chloe's son is definitely her husband's. Chloe is white, her husband is black, and their son is mixed race, so there was never any question about that. The divorces are still going ahead, nothing has been finalized yet, but neither couple is trying to work things out anymore. A lot of people also asked about my sisters. Yes, they knew about the affair before Emma found out. What? When did this come out? Did we miss an update or something? They admitted they stayed quiet because they thought it was a family matter and hoped it would end before anyone got hurt. I understand why they thought that, but I can't agree with it. Emma spent years being lied to while people around her knew the truth. I've decided to cut both of my sisters out of my life. I don't know if that will be forever, but they've broken my trust. Over the last few weeks, I've spoken to both of my daughters separately. I asked Emma if enough time had passed for her to even think about talking to Chloe. She said no. She told me she isn't waking up angry anymore, but that doesn't mean she's forgiven her. She said she's accepted that the truth was always going to come out eventually. The only thing that she can control was what she did after she found out. My philosophy in life is kind of like that. You can't control what happens in life. All you can control is how you react to it. So it sounds like you flipped a switch and you're heading in the right direction. She also said she has no interest in having a sister anymore. As for her husband, she told me she's made one thing very clear. She'll only respond if it's about the children or the divorce. Everything else gets ignored. What surprised me was that he hasn't stopped trying. He sent long apology messages, videos about forgiveness, and even Bible verses. None of us are religious, so that confused all of us. He keeps saying she was the only woman he's ever loved and that he made one terrible mistake. Again and again and again and again and again for 4 years. Emma hasn't replied to any of those messages. Good. Good for you, Emma. I also found out something Chloe never told me.
Give it to me.
In my last update, I said Chloe told me the only message Emma sent before blocking her was that she was no longer her sister. That wasn't true. Emma later showed me the messages. Before Emma sent that final text, Chloe had blamed her for what happened. Oh my God. She told Emma that maybe if she paid more attention to her marriage, things would be different. She also said that if her husband had felt happier at home, he wouldn't have looked somewhere else. What the fuck? How can you actually convince yourself to say that? How can you convince yourself that that's true? Reading those messages made me feel sick. When I confronted Chloe, she admitted she'd sent them. She said she was angry, desperate, and trying to make herself feel less guilty. She told me she regretted sending them almost immediately, but by then Emma had already blocked her. And yet when she talked to you, OP, she used the same logic. She's trying to avoid accountability. She's in denial. Chloe also told me she's moving to Washington once everything is finalized so she can stay close to her son. But in Florida, they allow divorced families to stay, so I don't know why his father is planning to move there to be closer to his family. And Chloe doesn't want to be too far away from her child. She admitted she tried contacting Emma's husband after everything came out, but he never answered any of her messages. She eventually stopped trying. She also told me she knows she'll never get her old life back, but she hopes moving will give her a chance to start over. I told her that starting over doesn't erase what had happened. She agreed. A lot of people asked if I've forgiven Chloe. I haven't. I still love her because she's my daughter, but I don't trust her anymore. And right now, we don't have a relationship. Maybe that changes one day. Maybe it doesn't. I honestly don't know. This whole situation has changed our family forever. Emma lost her husband and her sister. Chloe lost her marriage, her relationship with her sister, and most of her family. My sisters lost me because they chose to stay quiet. This will be my last update. I hope one day all of us can find some peace, even if we never become a family again. If I missed out some details, I will respond in the comments. Thank you, Reddit. And thank you for sharing. That's a very, very tragic story. Maybe one day down the road there is room for reconciliation, but I think right now what would be best is you all took some time apart. I think Emma needs a nice fresh start. I think that Chloe needs some time alone to think about what she's done. And I think that you need a break from your sisters as well. I hope that you find peace. I hope that you find trust again with your daughters. I hope you can reconcile one day, but for right now, you owe it to yourself to have a little break from both your sisters and from Chloe. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, you're gonna love this one. And speaking of love, I love you. And of course, subscribe.